Welcome to the show that has it all. This is the Betfred Super League.
What a game!
Champions, challengers, newcomers, leagues faithful. Hold on tight. This is the Betfred Super League 2024. There's nothing like league.
Yeah. No! Got me here. It took a big chunk out of me. Bleeding. It's bleeding. Oh no, it's bleeding. The thing just ripped me ear off. What do you think?
Hello again and welcome along to this latest edition of Eddie and Stevo, the podcast, here as always with the blessing of our friends at Betfred. Now, for various reasons, we've not heard from Stevo for a while, so it's good to know he's waiting for us on the end of the line right now, and much more back home here in Blighty. Stevo, first of all, how's things? All well?
Well, I'm getting there. I'll put it this way. I'm alive.
On the right side of the fairway. Good lad, good lad. Great to have you back. Great to have you back. Now then, you came home a couple of weeks ago, and the weekend after you arrived, your old club, Dewsbury, opened and named a new stand, the Mike Stevenson MBE stand at their ground. Congratulations, Steve. We heard from Paul Cullen a couple of weeks ago about the mural that's being painted on the side of a listed building here in Warrington. So he'll be remembered for all time from now on, and so will you. How good is that?
I'll tell you how good it is, because, you know, Cullen's, shall we say, face on the wall could be subject to a lot of people throwing things at it. And I'm fortunate because the naming of the stand is so high, I don't think an Olympic athlete could get anywhere near my name. But listen, it was a wonderful day, and I thank everybody involved. Paul Pickup and Neil Fay, they were the driving force behind it, and I'm very, very proud of it.
I'm sure you should be. I mean, I remember in Warrington years ago, they named a bus after me. I think the bus is now on a scrap heap, a little bit like myself. But, you know, it's fantastic that your name will be there forever. And you're there now, immemorial, Stevo. Fantastic news.
Well, if I knew what that meant, Eddie, I'd be very, very pleased. A lot of people have helped me, and they started my rugby league career, especially with my junior club, Shawcross, as well. And it was great to come back. A lot of my old playing mates were there, and it was a great day. And I'm very, very pleased. I even had two of my best friends from Sydney. They flew over just for the opening as well. So it gives you some indication. There was a little bit of Australian flair there.
Brilliant, brilliant. I bet it cost you a few bob as well. I hope it did. Anyway, look, London's first win at last, Stevo. Something else for you to celebrate, because I know you're really close to David Hughes, the owners. Fantastic win for them. And Mike Eccles' comments about the lack of jeopardy and how how difficult it has been for the London Broncos this year. But we said a while ago, didn't we? They would have Hull red-ringed on their calendar, and look what happened. They came up trumps. Yeah,
they did. And look, defensive-wise, it's been a bit of a problem, mainly due to the fact that the quality is not there individually, but as a team and as a unit, they really, really clicked last weekend. It was wonderful to see, and it's great stuff because, you know, Coach Eccles is a great guy. Even if they went to Wembley, if they won the title, IMG says, that's it, you're gone.
Oh, it's dreadful. It's dreadful. And someone, by the way, who has jumped on the bandwagon about that, and he's been talking about it for a while, is the Lee Leopards owner, Derek Beaumont. Now, he has been highly critical of this idea that IMG have come up with the ratings that they've given each club. And no matter what position you finish in the table, and this goes for London as well, because I think they got a rating in the 20s. If they won the Challenge Cup, if they won the Grand Final, if they won the League Leaders' Shield, they'd still be playing in the Championship next year. Here is what Derek has said. I know, let's relegate a team that's trying its heart out and has just beaten a team that's got rid of players thinking they are safe as a Grade A club. A great example of why IMG scoring doesn't work in this format. Let's stand up for the game, he says, and insist on relegating the bottom team, whoever they are.
Well, I agree with him. He's absolutely spot on. How on earth you can run any sporting competition where the most important thing, winning or losing in regards to table position or promotion or relegation, is just being thrown in the dustbin. Simple as that. Where is the incentive? There's no incentive for the London Broncos. They're doomed. They were doomed before they kicked a ball.
I know it must be a hugely difficult season for them down there. And when you think, according to Derek again, Toulouse are rated above Lee Leopards, above the Castleford Tigers. And he is tipping that Toulouse will be coming into Super League next year and we'll be losing the London Broncos. Now, this is ironic because London beat Toulouse in last year's £1 million game to get into Super League in the first place.
That's right. And the other big problem as well is the fact that some of the Super League clubs, if not all of them, are complaining that the French clubs now have to pay for all the other clubs transportation when they play down in the south of France.
Yes, a sixth of the competition will be based in France. I mean, listen, let's have Toulouse, let's have Catalan, let's have them all involved. There's no problem with that as far as I am concerned. I'm sure as far as you are concerned as well. But Derek also goes on to say, which team will be relegated to accomplish all of that or not promoted? Because Wakefield currently at top of the table in the Championship. He says, I'm safe as far as Lee are concerned on the IMG scoring plan, but he says I would not stay up if I finish bottom.
Well, it's just thrown its, right into the face of IMG. Don't get me wrong. I try to find out what's happening. And there are rumors going around that perhaps they said that they didn't charge Super League for the first 3 years. I've heard different versions of this. I've heard that they put in a bill of X amount when they were suggesting perhaps they'd do the first 3 years for free. So has this come out? Is this for public knowledge? Or is it just rumours?
I think it's just rumours. I mean, we don't know where we're going with it. It's as simple as that. But I think we're going to find out in the next. We're a third of the season through now, so in the next 2/3 of the season, we surely will find out. But it seems flawed, Stevo. It really seems flawed. This whole idea. I think it should be on the field of play. I know you've got to promote the game. I know you've got to have people coming through the turnstiles. You've got to put on a show, for goodness sake. We're in the entertainment business. We all know that. But if you finish bottom of the table, you're gone. You're relegated. Full stop.
We've got to establish where are we going in the future. There doesn't seem to be a monthly sort of situation where they say, right, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, etc. and so forth. I can't find any documentation. It's as though they are just a silent company that's supposedly doing our game a world of good. But I'm not seeing it.
No, we haven't seen it. I assume, and I would presume, that the game has seen it, that the people who are running the game at the RFL and Super League have seen their proposals, and they all apparently are quite impressed, or at least they've all voted it through. So you just have to keep your fingers crossed.
I'd just like statements coming out of IMG of how are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going?
It's politics, Stevo, with a capital P. Look, let's move away from the politics let's talk about the action on the field of play. And we take nothing away from London for their win at the weekend against Hull, but for goodness sake, what on earth has happened to the Black and Whites in 2024? 50 points conceded against Lee at home, against the Giants twice, and St Helens. They've got Castleford away on Friday week. If they lose that, Stevo, where on earth do they go?
Well, it's going to be difficult anyway. In the back of their minds, they've got a grading, so they're safe.
Yes.
So why would they want to go out and spend a fortune on getting better players, going up the table, etc. and so forth, when they can sit back, don't spend a lot of money, but then start spending in the off-season? And I'm sure that at the back of the mind of the new manager, that's what he's having to think about. But does he have the experience?
This is Richie Myler we're talking about, the new director of rugby, who was brought in after Tony Smith was shown the door. What a job that Richie Myler's got. Thrown in at the deep end, but he keeps talking it up. He keeps saying how much he's enjoying the job.
Well, he's got to say that, Eddie. Perhaps, maybe they've got a chest of money that's hidden away, ready for a big pounce in the off-season. Because at the back of their minds, why do we have to start trying to attract top-class players with top-class wages when we're safe? I mean, in the olden days, it used to be a right mess. The bottom 4 or 5 clubs in the last sort of month of the season. They bought everybody from overseas, you name it, Australia, New Zealand, to avoid one thing, relegation. They don't have to do that now.
The one thing that Hull have done, and this has probably got up Derek Beaumont's nose as well, they signed John Asiata from Lee for next season. There's also talk about Adrian Lamb going as the new coach at Hull. There's also talk about Oliver Holmes now, Zach Hardacre, all heading to the northeast. This is also upsetting Derek Beaumont, of course, because he doesn't think that all this is being handled terribly well. And his comment about, there's a club, grade A, no need to worry. They're doing whatever they're doing this season, but they're recruiting for next season already, knowing that they are safe. Doesn't seem fair.
No, it isn't fair. And look, things can happen. Now, down in Australia, David Fifita, right? He wanted to leave the Gold Coast Titans. At the end of this season, he had an option. He turned down the option to stay with the Titans and had a handshake agreement to go to the Sydney Roosters. It was all on all the back pages, radio, television, etc. and so forth, that the Roosters had beaten Penrith, my old club, to sign David Fifita. 3 days later, Fifita says, I'm staying at the Titans. Now, there's only one way you can do that, and that's offer him a little bit more money. Or is it? Has he turned that down? Does he want to go down to Sydney? It gets hot in summer, but up on the Gold Coast, it's lovely weather nearly all year round. His family lives there, etc. and so forth. So that obviously came into it. But you can understand how the Sydney Roosters and the coach, Trent Robinson, is furious about the situation. They had a handshake, and it just shows you handshake, contracts, doesn't mean a thing. David Fifita is staying at the Titans for next 3 years, $3 million. And talking of $3 million, guess what? Wayne Bennett. Should he retire? No. It looks like he's about to take South Sydney on again. Blake Solly will be going up to Queensland. It's the Magic Weekend in Australia this coming weekend. And Blake Solly, as we know, was the boss of Super League for many years, is convinced that Wayne Bennett will be at the South Rabbitohs in a 3-year deal at a wonderful price of $3 million.
Well, there you go. And that will be music to the ears of Warrington supporters, Stevo, because we heard on this podcast a couple of weeks ago a cast iron assurance from Mike Lomax, one of Warrington's directors, that Sam Burgess, who has been linked with South Sydney, of course, will not be going back after Jason Demetriou was sacked, and he will see out this 2-year deal in the Super League and probably stay on for 2 more after that. Now, I was wondering whether that's true or false, but by the sound of things, unless Sam wants to go and be assistant to Wayne Bennett, he's here in Super League, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, of course it is. And he's doing a great job. And why shouldn't he? He's a Dewsbury boy, like myself.
He'll have a stand named after him next.
Well, why not? I tell you what, he's doing a fine job. And I think we touched on it a couple of weeks ago, Eddie, in regards to the fact that when you look at the list of players that he has at Warrington, all the old blokes have gone. We mentioned it a while ago. He's bringing in youth. And that is the one saviour that has pleased me, is that it's not just Warrington, Wigan, St Helens. They are bringing in young guys who are producing good rugby league football. And that's not only good for the team, it's good for the organisation, and it's even better when you come to international games playing for England. We've got some good stars out there.
We have.
Good young stars, Eddie.
Just staying in the city of Kingston upon Hull at the moment, Hull Kingston Rovers, Stevo, buzzing, whereas Hull FC seem to be having a torrid time. Rovers absolutely buzzing. Okay, beaten at Warrington this week, but 80 minutes away from Wembley again. They've already beaten Wigan this season and Saints. And what's more, Willie Peters has signed a deal and he will stay at Hull Kingston Rovers till the end of 2028. They're 80 minutes away from the Challenge Cup final again. They finished 4th last year. They're 5th right now. Things seem to be going right on the red and white half of the city.
Sure does. And to be honest with you, I watch every single game. And the Warrington Hull Kingston Rovers was such a spectacle. The defences were solid. The attacking prowess was outstanding. And that's why I think that the future is looking good.
And some clubs need star products desperately. Castleford beaten 60 points to 4 at home by St Helens. Tommy Makinson sent off first half. Liam Horn of Castleford sent off in the second. They've both got a 1-match ban. Saints only led 8-4 at half-time, but 52 points to 2 in the second half. Craig Lingard, that's as poor a second half as you could possibly get.
The clubs that are safe with the IMG situation, they don't want to go out and spend and maybe get a halfback or a crafty hooker or a fullback, etc. and so forth. When they know they can just sit back and will say, we'll build a little bit later, we'll save some money, instead of what we suggested was in the olden days, panic with the lower clubs not being relegated and buying everybody from all over the world.
Well, there are people, Stevo, who say that essentially Toulouse Olympique are competing with Castleford because of the grading for the final spot in Super League next season. So they need to be careful down at the Jungle.
Oh, they fully understand that, Eddie. But do they have the money? That's also it's something that sort of like ricochets around every time we have this broadcast. Is the fact that the people with more money, the people that attract the bigger crowds, are always going to get the top players.
Steve, the one club that you have mentioned, or not mentioned, should I say, in terms of junior development and bringing the kids through is Leeds. Here's another club that's, let's say, they're in transition. Under strength in France, okay. Beaten 26-0, though, by Catalan. And Catalan didn't really receive the credit for the win on television. Rowan Smith at Leeds believes the results will improve, but the fans aren't very happy. Some of them were chanting for him to be sacked recently. The pressure's on, isn't it? Despite the grading, the pressure is on.
The fans will get a little bit annoyed if you're not winning.
Yeah.
And they've every right to. They put their hands in the pockets, they pay through the turnstile. They want to be winners. They want to be going to the grand final. They want to be going to Wembley, etc. and so forth. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, they don't care about A, B, C, D, E, F or G ratings, do they? They just don't care. They want to see a team that's winning on the pitch.
Yeah, of course they do. They want entertainment.
Talking of entertainment, it's Challenge Cup semi-final weekend. Now, Wembley is to stage the women's, the men's, and the 1895 Cup final on June the 8th. 3 games for the price of one. 1895 Cup, by the way, Sheffield and Wakefield, top 2 in the Championship currently. Women's semi-finals, St Helens against York Valkyrie and Wigan against Leeds. In the men's competition, Hull Kingston Rovers against Wigan at Doncaster. Liam Byrne, by the way, of Wigan, out for 2 matches with a suspension. And Huddersfield against Warrington at St Helens. Who is off to Wembley then, Stevo, for one of the biggest days of the year on June the 8th?
Well, I'd go for the big W, Warrington and Wigan. My mind goes back to last season. The underdogs did them in the semi-final.
They did.
And that is one thing I have experience of, is that the underdog, when it comes to the semi-final, they just lift. Simple as that. And that's why the drama, the excitement of the Challenge Cup should always be going to Wembley. Irrespective of people saying it should be played up in the north, etc. and so forth. No. I still get goosebumps when I walk up Wembley Way. It's just, it's something that difficult to describe.
Yeah, it's fantastic. A great place. It's a great place. It really is.
It's fantastic, Eddie.
It is. So you're saying the 2 W's, that's Wigan, Warrington, but you think it might be the 2 H's, Hull Kingston Rovers and Huddersfield, both beaten last weekend. Did they have an eye on Wembley, Stevo? Did Hull Kingston Rovers and Huddersfield think, I don't want to get injured, I want to play in the semi-final, want to get to Wembley on June the 8th? Do you think that was in the back of their minds last weekend and could play a big part in this weekend?
Who knows? But I do know that
well, you should know. You're the expert.
I do know that the underdogs will be using that from last season. The favourites got kicked out, boys. This is your opportunity. This is when a coach will really have to, lift them. And look, the 4 sides, they've got the ability to win. Obviously, the 2 favourites, 2 W's. But nerves play a big part. The thought of Wembley is in the back of your mind. And the opening 10, 15 minutes take control in that early part of the game. And you're on your way.
Well, it would be a great... whoever gets there, it'll be a great occasion. And it's a fantastic day with those 3 matches taking part. Okay,
It's amazing, Eddie, and I think it's about time. They don't get much. Look, the RFL don't get much praise, etc. and so forth, because they split away Super League, etc. and so forth. But it's a magical thing that they've come together. As you say, 3 games for the price of 1 ticket.
It's outstanding. I've just had a thought in the back of my mind. Magic Weekend coming up in August at Leeds. The Magic Weekend's happening this weekend on the June the 8th with those 3 games for the price of 1 at an iconic stadium down there in the capital. There's the magic. That's the magic for me. We've covered a stack of stuff on this first week back for you. I've just got to give a little mention, Stevo, right at the end, to Rob Burrow and his podcast 7, launched earlier this year. It won 4 awards, Stevo, at the Radio Academy's Audio and Radio Industry Awards night. Rob and his wife, Lindsay, host the podcast. It's produced with the help of BBC Radio Leeds. And his eye gaze machine means it's a unique podcast. And this is a unique award. Congratulations to him. Fantastic. Good on you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. you talk about a character who will just not give in. Inspiration to everybody in this country.
Indeed so. And this podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, like where you get ours. And okay, Stevo, we've missed out on 4 awards, but it's an award-winning podcast in our house. Is this an award-winning podcast in your house, as far as we're concerned? Okay, look, well, we'll go for more awards next week on the podcast, Stevo. Great to talk to you again. Welcome home. Well done on the stand. Great views as always, and talk to you in 7 days' time.
Take care, top man.